Before you pack up and move to St. Catharines, you need to hear this. Everyone online is making it look like a hidden gem in Niagara, but I'm going to share 5 reasons why it might not be your dream home that you're expecting. Hey everyone, I'm Cody Smith with Smith Realty Network, and I help people buy, sell, and invest right here in the Niagara region. St. Catharines has a ton to offer, but before you move, let's talk about some realistic points that most people don't tell you. Number 1, the job market isn't booming as much as you would expect. If you're moving here expecting a wave of new high-paying jobs, especially in tech or finance, you might be disappointed. The economy here still leans really heavy on service, trades, and manufacturing. Unless you're bringing your job with you or you work remotely, which a lot of people are doing nowadays, you could find career growth slower than what you typically see in Toronto or Hamilton. Now, what I tend to see a lot of people do moving out of the GTA, they either commute into the GTA or work remotely. The transit system is coming a lot better. We have the GO train that comes down to St. Catharines, so people can commute that way. Plus, we have the hover boat that is planning to go from Port Dalhousie or maybe even Port Weller down into Toronto. They're speculating that the boat is going to take anywhere from 30 to 45 minutes to get to Toronto from St. Catharines, which if that happens, it's going to be a huge boom for the market. So if you're thinking about moving to St. Catharines, you have to make sure and figure out what you're going to do for your job growth or your career, whether you're keeping it or if you're going to try and find something down here. Make sure you pre-plan ahead because the job market here isn't what you'd see in Toronto. Number 2 on our list, it's not as affordable as it used to be. Years ago, everyone said that moving to Niagara, it's way cheaper, and it still is the case compared to Toronto, but it's not compared to Hamilton and other places around the GTA. Over the last few years, home prices and rents have climbed incredibly fast, even while wages have stayed mostly the same. So it seems like a lot of the locals are having a hard time affording it because GTA is actually pushing the price higher. Yes, it's cheaper than Toronto, but not as cheap. You still need a solid income to live comfortably here. Number 3 on our list is limited nightlife and entertainment. If you're coming from a big city, the nightlife here feels a little quiet. There are a few good restaurants, some good wineries, and the odd downtown event, but don't expect the same buzz that you'd normally get in Toronto or even Hamilton. It's a much slower lifestyle, which some love and others can't stand after 6 months. Now, when you go downtown, you tend to find a night crowd of students, depending on what time you go. It is hard to find that spot if you're a first-time home buyer or you're in your late 20s, early 30s, 40s, coming into St. Catharines. And if you're looking for a nightlife or certain events, there's not a lot of shows like you typically see in Toronto or even Hamilton. You get the ice dogs, you can go to different wineries, small pub, open mic nights, stuff like that. You are close to Niagara Falls and the casino, so you do get a lot of good events there. Number 4 on our list, there's a lot of old infrastructure here. A lot of homes in St. Catharines are around that 50 to 100 year mark. A lot of them were built in the old wartime house era or 100 year plus. That means smaller bathrooms, older wiring, lower basements, and constant maintenance. If you're not budgeting for renovations or hate the smell of drywall dust, older neighborhoods can be a shock. That's why I typically tell people when you walk through, you really have to look at these older houses and see, are they going to be a bunny pit or not? Some of the things that you can look for in these older houses that I lead my buyers away from is if it's a cinder block foundation. Now, if it's a cinder block foundation, they are harder to keep dry. A lot of these homes were built back in the early 1900s or even middle 1900s. These basements weren't meant to be used. They were actually purposely made for them to come have water leak into them. And so with the basements leaking, they would slope it into the grate. And then what happened as of recently, people started going in, not realizing this, finishing their basements, and they're leaking underneath without knowing, growing black mold and a whole ton of issues. So that's one thing to keep in mind when you're shopping with your realtor or if you're shopping by yourself or going to open houses, walking through a house and seeing what the foundation is, any mold or mildew smells, is there any black mold present? Also getting a contractor's perspective or a home inspector is definitely the way to go, especially for a lot of these older houses. Something that people don't think about and they think that they're escaping, traffic and transit gaps in St. Catharines have become a huge surprise to a lot of people. There's a lot of brutal traffic here in rush hour. The QEW bottlenecks fast and local bus services isn't the great if you don't drive. Unless you're close to your job or work remotely, you'll spend more time in your car than you expect. I've worked in the GTA for quite a number of years, strictly going into St. Catharines, and the traffic in the GTA is nowhere close to St. Catharines. But if you're trying to get home and get down one of the main arteries, especially from downtown into the north end of St. Catharines, it takes forever. There's only 2 lanes of traffic going through in some areas, sometimes even one. And it could easily go from a 10-minute commute to a half-hour commute. I did talk to one client yesterday, and he is moving into St. Catharines, and he said to me, I really love St. Catharines because you're really, no matter where you are, you're 10 minutes from anywhere. You can get anywhere in St. Catharines, one end to the other in 10 minutes. It's just the local rush hour traffic is crazy. If you don't end up driving and you want to use public transit, it's a little spotty at times. Now, don't get me wrong, St. Catharines has a ton of great things going for it. Nature, communities, tons of wineries, and affordable access to both Toronto and Niagara Falls and going over the border. But moving here without knowing these downsides can lead to a big regret. If you're serious about moving, I'll help you weigh the good and the bad, so you decide if it's truly the right fit for you. If you found this video helpful, hit the subscribe button. I make weekly videos on real estate, and I'm also a contractor too, so we're tying that into the mix. Drop a DM down below. I'm Cody Smith. We'll see you guys in the next one.